in my opinion, whatever was buried there, the ancient Egyptians never wanted those creatures to have an afterlife, or that these creatures would never be resurrected.
Drones bring forward a completely unseen side of the world that's full of mysteries, otherworldly marvels, and heartwarming encounters. So, get ready to witness some of the chilling drone discoveries. This drone captured coffins dangling from a cliff in Sagada, Philippines. But as spooky as it looks, this is actually the norm for the area. The hanging coffins of Sagada are a tradition that dates back hundreds of years and are purposefully hooked to the cliff by a local tribe, the Igorot. The tribe believes placing their deceased high up in the sky brings them closer to the spirits of their ancestors and will help them reunite in heaven. Since the cliffs are incredibly challenging to reach, these vertical graves are also protected from grave robbers and animals. Since the practice has reduced, this is the only safe way to observe this curious burial. Spooky shaft. This is the moment a group of miners ran for their lives. During a routine drilling, the miners began to hear creepy sounds. It was eerily close to a human's and sounded like it was coming from the ground. Believing they disturbed the final resting place of ancient humans, the miners ran out. Some even believed they'd found a gateway to hell. The noises made it clear their owners were in severe distress, which is why the miners refused to go back. Birth of Island. In 2023, a 1 in a billion moment of a new emerging island was captured in China by some drone operators who were lucky enough to witness this magical sight. All those fumes and bubbling on the water's surface were a clear sign that something was getting ready to make its way to the top. These moments normally happen due to tectonic plate movement or volcanic activity. Elusive being. In January 2024, a man shared this video from his trip to Prana, Brazil, and it clearly shows he had an otherworldly experience. Quite literally, the tourist filmed this inhumanly giant figure walking on a mountain across from him, and it did not seem normal at all. With a creepy, hunched-over back and tall stature, he could only think of it being a forest spirit, and some online users even agreed with him. Do you think these creatures actually exist? Haunted woods. In Russia, an eagle-eyed drone operator spotted a white fleck among the trees. For a second, he thought it was just a white sheet hanging from the tree, probably placed by a farmer nearby. But as the drone moved closer, it became clear this was no sheet. It was a creature standing on two legs and so tall, it made basketball players look short. The creature seemed to be trying to hide behind the trees, but it was all just too tall to stay out of sight. This sight scared the drone operator so much that he quickly flew the drone away, not sticking around to figure out exactly what he had seen. Forest phantom. You think Bigfoot's just a myth? One drone caught something so strange, it got people talking about the mysterious creature once again. Flying over a thick, green forest, the drone operator spotted a tree shaking violently, as if something strong was trying to move it. Being able to move a tree like this would require immense force, so it's hard to imagine any person being able to do that. The problem is, the forest was so dense, the camera couldn't catch a clear view of what was causing the commotion. So, despite incredible footage, we're still left guessing who or what made that tree move like that. Aerial anomaly. Look at what a drone captured during a routine flight over Porterville, California. Something giant and black whizzing past it, almost as if it was in a bit of a hurry. Once the video made it online, people were quick to comment on the peculiar object. A few tried passing it off as a big birthday balloon that had gotten stuck in the currents, but the orb quickly switched directions, which suggested it's some sort of device or aircraft. Could it really be a UFO or a secret aircraft made by the government? Construction site.
Thing's kind of creepy. It's like a person's silhouette up in them clouds.
Some construction workers were doing their duties at the mountain range when one of them filmed the whole area and noticed this odd figure standing nearby. It was dark and bigger than any normal person. According to some viewers, this was a giant living in these mountains, and it was looking at those construction workers taking over its home. Judging by the size of the figure and the mountain, it was no wonder it had to be bigger than normal. But there are still doubts about giants living in these landscapes. Creek copter. Peter Pugh, a 75-year-old man, was accidentally separated from his family while out on a walk. After spending hours looking for him, the family contacted police, who scoured the area, but with no luck. Finally, one police officer decided to use a drone to scan the area from above, and found Pugh sitting in the middle of a muddy creek, where he had gotten stuck the previous night. Officers later arrived at the scene and were able to rescue Pugh, who thankfully remained unharmed. Fishing enthusiasts. This is what a true passion for fishing looks like. All of these men gather around in the small town of Arungu every year in March. They all have only one sole agenda: to catch the biggest fish in the river. Every fisherman brings his best nets and uses a variety of strategies from hand fishing to modern techniques that can ensure their prize. Up till now, the biggest fish, weighing a whopping 78 kilograms, was taken from these waters. But that's not all. The winner gets valuable prizes like cash or even cars. Antler shedding.
Here's a fresh set of antlers right there.
While flying his drone over a snowy landscape, a man saw a hunter and a biologist's dream: an adult bull moose, right while shedding its antlers. As it grunted and shook its head violently, the drone couldn't help but get closer. After all, people have always found dropped antlers, but never really gotten a close view of it happening. And luckily for us, this drone managed to fly past the moose just as it was getting ready to shed a few pounds. Beast bust.
What is that?
In 2022, a man decided to fly his drone over the woods across his backyard. After a few minutes of mindlessly floating above, he noticed a part of the woods rustling. Curious, he flew closer and spotted a brownish speck casually making its way across the woods. At a closer look, the creature looked tall enough to easily surpass some of the trees, suggesting that it wasn't just a human playing dress-up. The man tried to follow the Sasquatch-like creature for a while, but eventually had to stop giving chase after it disappeared into the thicker section of the woods. Tribal defense. A drone malfunctioned and landed amidst an isolated group of tribesmen, who immediately picked up their weapons in defense. As unusual as it looks, numerous tribes around the world prefer to stay away from technological gadgets, so they don't even know what a drone is. To them, it might just be some sort of magical creature capable of flight, or the product of witchcraft, which explains why they're so hesitant to approach it. Creepy cave. A bunch of travelers were driving through a mountain landscape and were stunned to notice this giant hole in the middle of one of them. Their main question was, what the heck was this hole used for? There was no road going in or out, or any sign of it being used by the people, but that precise cut had to be made by some humans, or maybe an intelligent being. Some even pointed to the possibility that it could be a portal to another dimension. Teleporting UFO. A drone operator was filming the amazing landscapes when he accidentally witnessed an unexplainable scene. He shared this video that shows a lifelike UFO moving through a hollow ring and then vanishing from the scene. While this was a groundbreaking sight for believers of UFOs and extraterrestrial life, many other viewers were skeptical about the authenticity of this clip. Deserted mansion. A drone flight through the forests of Ireland brought forward quite a chilling sight when the operator saw a huge abandoned mansion in the middle of the forest. According to him, this building was made in 1872 and was owned by the same family for decades. Today, it lies in the middle of tall trees, just standing tall as a sight to behold for the drone operators. The graveyard shift.
You okay?
This man was visiting the cemetery when he noticed a car that had met with some sort of accident. He could hear the low wailing of a woman who was clearly pleading for her life. but when he came closer, there was no one around. He even inspected the car all around, but nothing. It's even weirder that the car was in the cemetery off the path where it shouldn't have been. Did he just record a ghost crash? Or something creepier?
You okay? What the hell?
Self-rescue. You've probably seen some incredible drone-captured rescues, but have you ever seen a drone film its own rescue? In what might be one of the most heart-stopping drone rescues ever recorded, 2 drone operators found themselves racing against time when their drone, flying over a river, started running out of battery and began to fall. Many drones aren't made to survive getting wet. Even a small amount of water could wreck them by shorting out the electronics inside. No wonder the owner even plunged into the water to save it. Marine wipeout. Back in 1980, a plane from the World War II era missed its landing and ended up crashing into the water near Norman's Cay in the Bahamas. This wasn't just any plane though, it was owned by Pablo Escobar, the boss of the Medellin cartel, which explains why no one dared inspect the plane or rescue it. But years later, the plane naturally gave way to the water and has now become a popular diving spot. A tourist who wanted to explore the dive site without having to go into the water flew his drone over it and noticed that the plane was stripped clean by marine scavengers, or perhaps one of Escobar's goonies. A whirring angel.
Get on the PA and tell them.
In September 2021, a 3-year-old boy named AJ vanished from his home in Putty, a village north of Sydney, Australia. Sick with worry, his parents immediately notified the local PD, but despite a massive search with over 600 people, AJ was nowhere to be found for 3 days. Knowing the dangers of the outback, a smart police officer suggested using a drone to search the dense wilderness. In just a few hours, the drone found AJ. He was safe, just sitting by a creek and drinking water, probably stuck there for the past 3 days, unable to find his way home, but luckily, the drone was able to reunite him with his family. Alleged UFO.
There's a dog there. See, the animals are black. I'm assuming this is black hawk.
Jeremy Corbell shared a video of an alleged sighting of an unidentified flying object in US airspace, and as soon as it hit the internet, people went nuts with their explanations. While some were convinced this was a real UFO soaring through the sky, others came forward with the ever-famous answers like a helium balloon. Still, the fact that it was pulsating all the time in the video made everyone question reality with just more curiosity than answers. Talon takeover. What started off as a routine flight across rocky canyons turned into a hostile takeover by a certain winged creature. A man's drone was picked up by an eagle, which wasn't content on letting it go. It's obvious the eagle mistook the drone for some sort of prey. Too bad it didn't realize it at the moment, and probably found out when it was safe back at its nest. Sadly, the eagle eventually drove the drone beyond its flying limits, so the video was cut short. But hey, that eagle's hunger gave us a pretty good angle, a literal bird's eye view. Battle of the Drones. Ever wonder what modern wars would look like? Here's a clue. This drone captured an enemy drone flying into its territory, so the duo did what any other would. They clashed, hoping to see who'd win. And down she went. Well, I wish that's how we'd resolve all our problems, just letting our gadgets do all the work for us. A meow rescue. Flying over a flooded area, a drone spotted a cat stranded on a house roof, cut off by rising waters. The poor cat seemed to have given up on its rescue. Thankfully, the operator quickly notified rescuers, who were then guided to the cat's location. Synchronized beauty. Believe it or not, this is actually dozens of men paddling in perfect sync, and it's almost hypnotic to watch them go. A drone captured the perfect footage to show how mesmerizing a simple activity like paddling can be if done the right way. This was most likely part of the Dragon Boat Festival. It is celebrated near the summer solstice. Visitors and some participants take part in racing dragon boats that create these amazing visuals. Monster croc. Swimming in the murky river waters might sound like a good idea, but beware of encounters like this. The diver was probably so shocked to see this giant just inches away from him that he did not even realize how to react. A drone in the area perfectly captured the sheer size difference in both of them, and just thinking to be close to a crocodile of those proportions? Gives me the chills. River monster. Our rivers are inhabited by the most formidable creatures, and here's drone footage to prove it. A fisherman was filming his experience in the murky waters, and while everything was going normal, this odd creature made its way to the surface to ruin everything. If you look closely, it almost looks like some kind of river monster ready to take revenge for being disturbed, but some viewers think that these were a bunch of crawfish with bait on them. Wholesome encounter. A paddleboarder got to experience one of the most magical experiences of his time off the coast of Esperance, Australia, when two majestic southern whales came just inches away from him. On top of that, he was lucky enough to get it all on video. A drone operator nearby was filming the ocean when he captured the surreal sight on his device. The whales, each potentially measuring up to 60 feet and weighing up to 50 tons, were caught perfectly on camera, enough to show their size comparison. It perfectly shows the peaceful coexistence of mankind and nature. Sasquatch on stroll. A homeowner living near the mountains heard rumors about Bigfoots living in his area, so he decided to check it out for himself. He took his drone out and was shocked to find tiny footprint trails all over the snowy landscapes. And just a few moments later, the mythical creature made its entrance to the scene. It looked almost real, with a giant figure casually walking all over the place. Although the video was not so clear, it was enough to tell that this was bigger than any normal person. Online viewers still had several questions about the Bigfoot's existence, but the homeowner was convinced by what he saw. Marine mingle. This is the incredible moment a drone captured two marine animals frolicking in the water like they were old pals. A duo of courting gray whales were unexpectedly disrupted by a pod of Pacific white-sided dolphins. But instead of making a big deal out of it, the duo began playing with the dolphin. Although marine encounters like this probably happen all the time, it's certainly unusual being able to witness them. It also gives us a great question. What else are marine animals doing under our noses that we don't know about? Cubic charms. A passenger flying from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam to Melbourne, Australia, noticed these bright cubed objects floating in the sky underneath. Spooked, they uploaded the video asking for answers, believing they'd encountered some sort of alien creature. But experts later claimed that this is just dragon fruit greenhouses that have been lit up by LED lights at night to artificially trigger their growth. Gateway to the unknown. Tourists visiting the town of Cholpanata in Kyrgyzstan captured a mysterious ring forming in the sky. The object had suddenly materialized in the air and looked as if it was cutting deep into the sky. This prompted tourists to wonder if they'd captured some sort of a portal, which was still halfway to completion. Considering how remote the area is, it would make sense why an alien would try to enter Earth from here. Some even believed it was the start of Nibiru, a disastrous event that would trigger the end of the world. Route Recon. Yes, you're watching an entire forest staring lifelessly back at the sky. This was captured in 2018 just along Lake Detroit in Oregon, which had dramatically receded after a severe drought in 2018, revealing stumps of trees that once used to inhabit the area. The stumps were cut off decades ago to build the reservoir and are still standing tall to tell their haunting tale. When the video made it online, citizens and activists criticized the government for letting the lake recede this low. Well, that's our cue to start recycling. Ghost in the wind. In 2017, a Brazilian expedition team flying over one of the densest areas of the Amazon captured one of the few indigenous tribes that have managed to remain hidden from the rest of the world. The drone was able to scour the trees and find the huts of indigenous tribes, but didn't expect to meet the tribesmen, who looked equally as confused to see the drone. If we think about it, these tribesmen have never encountered any sort of gadgets, which means to them, something ominous whirring over them is kind of like seeing a deity. White migration. Mark Zakarakan, an avid photographer, captured a giant flock of migratory birds finally heading south across the border, straddling Canada and the US. The flock belongs to North American geese, which, although are a common sight, hadn't been seen from this angle yet. This is because geese mostly fly incredibly high in the air, where controlling a drone wouldn't have been possible. But this flock was cruising relatively low to the ground, so Mark was able to stay above them and record their flight without breaking drone height restrictions. Pedal panic. A drone captured this horrifying sight: a black bear chasing after a poor cyclist who was trying his best to outrun it. The cyclist might have startled the bear, prompting it to run after it. It's a terrifying experience because most black bears can sprint up to 30 miles per hour and won't easily be outrun, which is why seeing this one cut its route short and give up is much more incredible than we realize. Mother Nature's void. Well, only in Australia would you try to run away from the sea, and it decides to chase you instead. This massive sinkhole developed in a homeowner's backyard in Queensland, Australia. Luckily, the retired owners remained safe, but they couldn't help but fear their new backyard pool, and for good reason too. Once a sinkhole opens up, it can't just be stitched back up. Although the government sectioned off their home and tried to come up with strategies to cover it up, the chances of it opening back up and devouring the land whole are incredibly high. So the couple was advised to stay cautious and pack up if anything happened again. Full throttle. In Wisconsin, residents had an unexpected encounter when a massive bog resembling a floating island drifted and blocked their boat paths. Initially unsure of how to tackle the situation, the community gathered to brainstorm and eventually came up with a genius move. They rounded up about 20 boats and worked together to push the bog away. This way, not only did they clear their path, but were able to do so without disrupting the natural ecosystem of the bog, allowing tiny creatures to stay safe in their homes. The incredible feat was also recorded by a drone flying overhead. Quite the adventure, and a win for both people and nature. Takeover by witch. Locals of the French Alps were kinda scared to watch this witch taking over the sky. It was even captured on a drone flying in the area, but it almost looked too good to be true. Just look at how much it resembles the typical witches we've heard of and seen in movies. If you're thinking the same way, you guessed it right. This was actually part of the Carnival festival held in the French village of Saint-Hilaire. Multiple pilots get dressed in unique and creative costumes and take over the skies, putting up quite a show. Duck UFO. In November 2019, a rubber-shaped duck was seen flying over the mountains at an estimated 200 miles per hour. Every viewer was left with questions like how a rubber duck could move at speeds and heights like that, and some of them even mentioned the possibility of UFOs. There was a possibility of a drone operator being creative and disguising the device as a rubber duck. But what do you think? Foggy sun. A long hike can bring the most amazing sights for anyone on a trip, but that was not the case for these people. As soon as they got to the top, these hikers saw a strange sun-like structure revolving in its place and even creating a magical fog. While they all recorded the whole ordeal, no one had any answers as to what it was or how it formed in the area. Flying cars. If you think being stuck in traffic is the worst thing, wait till you watch this video. Drone footage from China showed an odd sight when some cars mysteriously started flying in the air for no apparent reason. Officials even closed the whole area in a 5-kilometer radius to check what was going on here, but no official statement came forward to describe why it happened, leaving us with just guesses of a glitch in the matrix or problems with a gravitational field. Transformation on camera. This CCTV footage captured the creepy moment a seemingly normal cat transformed into a full-grown human. The video made rounds on the internet, with people calling it a real-life skinwalker caught in the act, while there could be chances of a glitching camera. Caught red-handed.
Suspect is extremely fit, knows the area well, and had specific knowledge about what tools to use in order to cut the cable.
In 2020, the Sea to Sky gondola faced a turn of events when their cabins fell down. But here's surveillance footage that captured the culprit in the act. That person was clearly seen cutting some cables leading to the tragic event, but miraculously, a guard escaped from there. The video could help authorities take the right steps and catch the suspect, who is still at large. Floating anomalies. Many cameramen capture the beauty of nature, but one particular man from South Africa has a unique collection of videos. The cameraman shared these videos of several creatures that looked like they belonged to some other dimension. Some viewers jokingly pointed out that these looked like elemental characters. Nature's cycle. A drone footage over the Mara River, Kenya, filmed the horrifying scene of zebras migrating to the other side and becoming a meal of the crocodiles inhabiting these murky waters. But this fate is almost inevitable for anything that sets foot in these territories. The crocodiles always wait in the murky areas like stealthy predators and strike when the time is right. These ambush predators succeeded almost every time, so be careful before going in here. Beached whale. Filming the coasts of Northumberland took an eerie turn for a camera operator when he spotted a giant sperm whale beached among the waves and sand. Experts tried to find the reason behind this stranding, but they were not entirely sure what could have caused this gloomy event. Sperm whales are not common in British waters, so this was quite a surprise for both the drone operator and the experts. Alleged UFO. We've all seen several videos of UFOs soaring through the sky, and while many have a hard time believing in them, video released by a US military drone in the Middle East might be a bit understandable. Even the officials stated that they could not identify what this metallic orb was, or where it came from. The cluelessness of the officials raised questions that, if they did not own the object, where did it come from? Leaving Earth. We've all seen footage of UFOs entering our airspaces, but here's something different. A glowing object was spotted moving out of our world in Miami. Many eyewitnesses even mentioned that this vessel was quiet and did not make any noise on its exit, ruling out the possibility of a rocket. Till now, no one has been able to describe what was going on here. Online viewers state that this has to be the clearest and best video proof of their existence. Loch Ness. The legend of Loch Ness has left many debating about its existence, and here's a video to add to its mystery. A drone operator unexpectedly captured something lurking in the murky waters, and it went viral when people pointed out its uncanny resemblance to a Loch Ness monster. Many viewers were not ready to accept this reality, but they still didn't have any explanation for the video. Frozen giant. A casual walk in nature took a creepy turn for a man when he unintentionally spotted this dark figure looming in the area. It was tall and had a humanoid figure, but at the same time did not look human at all. An even more mysterious thing about this figure was that it was not even moving and seemed stuck in time. While many viewers were skeptical that this could be an art installation, the eyewitnesses were persistent that it might be another dimensional being. Historical treasure. Drone footage of the Maishishan grottos in China show the exact reason why they are regarded as the greatest grottos. These are tall peaks shaped like a wheat stack with over 200 caves carved into it. But that's not the only impressive fact about this monument. There are more than 10,000 amazing sculptures of Buddhas, some as tall as a building and some as small as your hand. Due to its grand stature and amazing historical significance, these caves have quite some reputation in the tourist world. Furry pursuit. Well, that's something you don't see every day. It's clear this drone wasn't expecting to run into a wild bear chase. It was so unexpected, even the bear was a bit startled. The video was cut too short, but I'm pretty sure everything was okay. Otherwise, it would have been all over the news. It's time for today's open discussion. A drone flying over Enshun in southwest China's Guizhou province captured an unusual sight: caves filled with hundreds of thousands of wooden coffins. This tradition, dating back to ancient times, involves stacking coffins in caves on steep cliffs, allowing them to slowly merge with nature. It is believed the closer these coffins are to the sky, the easier it will be for their souls to reach heaven. But there's more to it. This high spot protects these coffins from disastrous events and possible grave robbers, allowing the deceased to rest in peace. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.